Academic Challenge. Yeah, we welcome you to the Nordson Academic Challenge as well. I'm your host, Rob Powers. So glad you're with us. For the next 30 minutes, our players will be tested on their knowledge of subjects like math, science, history, a few others as well. So once again, please welcome today's teams from Cardinal, GlenOak, and New Philadelphia. Today's winner will be the team with the highest point total at the end of 5 rounds. By the end of the season, 60 area high school teams will have competed, and the 3 highest scoring teams will be right back here to play in our championship game and try to win the top prize of $6,000 for their school, awarded by our friends at Nordson. If you didn't join us last week for our season opener, here's how things wrapped up last week. St. V's came out on top, so it's up to today's teams to make their way onto that leaderboard. Let's find out if they can. We start today's game with the lightning round. All 3 teams compete in this round. I'll ask 10 questions. They all have a common theme. We award 20 points for a correct answer. We take away 20 points for an incorrect or no answer. Let's start every team with 100 points. Everybody ready? Hands on your buzzers. Here we go. All answers here begin with the letter F. F as in famous. Got it? This European country has its capital at Helsinki. New Philly.
Finland.
That is correct. This is the subject matter studied by an ichthyologist. New Philly.
Fish.
That is correct. Glowworm and lightning bug are other names for this insect. New Philly.
Firefly.
That is correct. This is the term of the central body of an airplane. New Philly.
The fuselage.
The fuselage is correct. This 18th century Prussian king was called the Great. New Philly.
Frederick.
That is correct. Suva is the capital of this Pacific nation composed of 300 islands. New Philly.
Fiji.
That is correct. This is the largest city in North Dakota. New Philly.
Fargo.
That is correct. This tall pink wading bird is featured in Alice in Wonderland. GlenOak.
Flamingo.
That is correct. He was the 13th president of the United States. GlenOak.
Fillmore.
That is correct. For this week's Great Lakes Science Center question, here's an academic challenge alum from way back in 1998. Liz Conway.
Today's technological advances are built on the work of those who came before. What F-initialed Italian-American physicist created the first nuclear reactor in 1942?
New Philly.
Fermi.
That is correct, and that's the end of the first round. That's how we do it. We'll be back with the second round of today's big game after this quick break. Academic Challenge. If you'd like more information about any of the schools that appear this season, scan the QR code you see on the upper right-hand corner of your screen with your cell phone. That code takes you to news5cleveland.com's Academic Challenge page. We have links for every one of this season's schools' websites right there for you. Time for us now to play Hot Picks. One at a time, I ask each team 8 questions picked by the captain from another team. Correct answers here worth 20 points. No penalty here for a wrong answer. Any team answering all 8 questions correctly will receive 25 bonus points. Before we get to the questions, let's meet our teams. Let's start with Cardinal. Grayson, you're the captain. Welcome. Tell us about yourself.
I'm Grayson. I run cross country and track, and I'm also in marching band.
Good for you. Nice to have you here this morning. Hi, Evan.
Hello. I'm Evan Everett. I'm a part of the G Club, and I play piano.
Good for you. Welcome this morning. Hi, Emma.
Hi, my name is Emma. I am drum major in our marching band, and I also play soccer.
Way to go. Cardinal, your questions come courtesy of Liana from GlenOak. You're the captain. Liana, open board. Envelope 1, 2, 3, or 4?
2.
2. All righty. Cardinal, these are all yours. All set? Here we go. Male bees are known by what term that is also applied to unmanned aerial vehicles such as the Black Falcon, the Reaper, or the DJI Mavic Mini? Answer is a drone. Drone. In 2009, animators at the Walt Disney Company decided to create a more up-to-date outfit for what beloved fairy from Peter Pan?
Tinkerbell.
That is correct. The mountain range extending from Morocco to Tunisia is named for what mythical Greek titan forced to hold up the heavens on his shoulders? Answer?
Atlas.
Atlas is correct. Let's go to the monitor here. Here's your science question. Which of these acids is combined with nitric acid to produce a substance capable of dissolving gold and platinum? 1, 2, or 3?
Hydrochloric acid.
That is correct. Approximately 275 different types of molecules combine to produce the fragrance given off by what kind of flower that named a 15th century war in England? Answer is rose, the War of the Roses. Author Suzanne Collins tasted success with what hugely popular series of novels that includes Catching Fire and Mockingjay? Answer?
Hunger Games.
That is correct. Let's go back to the monitor. Here's your math question. We ask you to evaluate this expression, giving your answer as an integer. Answer?
33.
27. 27 is the answer. Said to have tested potential ambassadors by challenging them to foot races, what 26th president lost the political race in 1912 when he ran as the Bull Moose candidate? Answer is Theodore Roosevelt. Cardinal. Good round. That takes us to our second team this morning. Comes to us from GlenOak. Liana, great to see you this morning. Tell us about yourself.
I'm a junior, and outside of Academic Challenge, I sing in my school's women's chorus, and I'm an editor for our newspaper.
Good for you. Welcome this morning. You're doing great. Carter, you're up.
Hi, I'm Carter. I'm a senior, and apart from Academic Challenge, I am the alto saxophone section leader in our marching band, and I am in Math Honors Society.
There you go, man. That's a busy day. Busy day. Carter, thank you. Shashir, you're up.
Hello, my name is Shashir. I am a senior, and I am the president of Mu Alpha Theta, our Math Honors Society, and the president and founder of the American Red Cross Club.
Wow, good for you. Again, that's a busy day. Glenn, thank you so much for being here. For your questions, we go to Derek, the new Philadelphia captain. Derek, down to envelope 1, 3, or 4?
Envelope 3.
You got it. GlenOak, these are all yours. All set? Here we go. The country of Italy is a good example of what type of land mass bounded on 3 sides by water?
Peninsula.
That is correct. In the early 20th century, America saw an epidemic of what dreaded disease that killed 1/4 of Europe's population in the 14th century?
Spanish flu.
The plague, we would have taken Black Death or the bubonic plague as well. Garrett Morgan, the inventor of the 3-way traffic light, also invented the gas mask, which proved of critical importance during what war the U.S. entered in 1917?
World War I.
That is correct. Let's go to the monitor. Here's your science question. Which of these common plant hormones that can stimulate cell growth, which of these are common plant hormones that can stimulate cell growth in plant tissues?
Androgens.
Auxins. Auxins is the answer. 4 Wings and a Prayer is the title of Sue Halpern's book about the monarch variety of what lepidotris insect?
Butterfly.
That is correct. It was back in 1949 when George Orwell chose what year, then in the future, to title his novel that introduces Big Brother.
1984.
That is correct. Back to the monitor. Here's your math question. We ask you to perform the indicated operation. Answer?
Negative.
Negative 6x to the 5th.
That is correct. Just 16 years after Abraham Lincoln was assassinated, what 20th U.S. president was shot by a disappointed office seeker?
Garfield.
That is correct. Nice round, GlenOak. There we go. Our third team comes to us from New Philadelphia. Derek, welcome back. You're the captain, man.
Hi, I'm Derek. I'm a senior, and I am the co-president of our Science Leadership Club and co-president of our Renaissance Club.
Welcome back. Great to see you. Good morning, Alex.
I'm Alexander. I'm a senior. I do Academic Challenge for 4 years, and I'm also on the bowling team.
Welcome this morning. Nice to see you. Hello, Oscar.
I'm Oscar. I'm a sophomore. I play tennis, and I do debate.
And we welcome all 3 of you here this morning. New Philadelphia, for your questions. Grayson, the Cardinal captain, down to envelope 1 or 4?
Let's go with 4.
You got it. All right, New Philadelphia, these questions all yours. All set? Here we go. Hamsters and gerbils might be cute, but they are banned in what state, the 50th, to join the Union?
Hawaii.
That is correct. Haydn's Military Symphony is also designated with what number, which indicates a century?
100.
That is correct. In 1944, the Nazis broke into the attic of a Dutch warehouse and arrested the family of what Jewish girl who had kept a diary while in hiding?
Anne Frank.
That is correct. Let's go to the monitor. Here's your science question. Which of these comes as a byproduct of yeast fermentation?
Alcohol.
That is correct. In 1881, forest fires in Michigan prompted the first large-scale disaster relief by what organization whose American branch had been founded by Clara Barton?
The Red Cross.
That is correct. A fight with a giant squid is a feature of 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, a science fiction classic by what French author?
Wells.
Jules Verne. Jules Verne is the answer. Let's go back to the monitor. That's okay. Here's your math question. We ask you to solve for n. Answer?
12.
14. 14. The Federal Maritime Commission was established in 1961 under what 35th president who had skippered a PT boat during World War II?
JFK.
That is correct, and that's the end of that round. Way to go, everybody. We'll be back with more academic excitement right after this. Welcome back to the Nordson Academic Challenge. Joining us today from our partners at Cuyahoga Community College, it's Victoria Montero, the Institutional Advertising Manager for Tri-C. She helps us find volunteers to join us as judges that we meet every week. Victoria, so nice to see you. Thanks for being here again. Time now for our Picture Perfect round. All three teams compete in this round. I ask 8 questions that have a picture clue. For every correct answer, we award 20 points, but for a wrong answer or no answer, we take away 20 points. Hands on your buzzers, eyes on the big monitor down front. All set? Here we go. Many diamonds were used to create this crown for what 18th century Russian empress called the Great? GlenOak.
Catherine.
That is correct. This is the official motto of which branch of the armed forces? New Philly.
Army.
That is correct. Seen rising out of the water here is the chariot of what Greek god, sometimes referred to as Phoebus? GlenOak.
Apollo.
That is correct. Taking positive roots, simplify this expression. New Philly.
16.
That is correct. This bejeweled cover for the Holy Quran belonged to Murat III, a Turkish sultan who ruled what empire that lasted? New Philly.
The Ottomans.
That is correct. Seashells such as these are formed by mollusks whose blood contains what element with atomic number 20 and symbol Ca? GlenOak.
Calcium.
That is correct. It was here in the 1930s that a research team developed what device used to spot enemy aircraft. Its name is an acronym. New Philly.
Radar.
That is correct. The brickwork of the home on this cover of Cleveland Magazine may bring to mind the classic craft of masonry, which can be traced as far back as the construction of what towering structures in Egypt? New Philly.
The pyramids.
That is correct, and that's the end of our round. Boy, we sped through that one. Don't go anywhere. We're back with today's Mix It Up round right after this. Time now to welcome today's school advisors. Joining us this morning from Cardinal is James Kennedy. From GlenOak, it's Matthew Brown. And from New Philadelphia, Scott Homard and Lindsay Palmer. Thank you all so much for being here. Take a seat. Let's get going. Time now to mix it up. One at a time, I ask each team 6 questions. A correct response here is worth 20 points. There's no penalty for a wrong answer. Any team answering all 6 questions correctly here receives 25 bonus points. First up, Cardinal. All set? Here we go. The Jaguar may be gone, but we are still here. So see if you can find in this phrase the name of what element whose atomic number is 18.
Argon.
That is correct. Which of these can be best described as ephemeral? Answer?
A lizard.
A rainbow. A rainbow. You don't have to beg, just rearrange the letters to name what sort of cold floating formation that collided with Titanic in 1912.
Iceberg.
Of course it is. Fill in the blanks here. You can name what North African country, the largest on the continent. Answer?
Algeria.
That is correct. Today, Americans vote directly for U.S. senators, but before the 17th Amendment, senators were chosen by which of these?
Congress.
State legislatures. You can complete this quote from Aldous Huxley by placing in the blank what number that is the basis of the decimal system.
10.
10 is correct. Way to go, Cardinal. That's your round. And that takes us to GlenOak. Are you all ready? These are all yours. All set? Here we go. You'll have 20 points if you can find within this phrase what word for the tiny hair-like projections that line bronchial and nasal passages.
Cilia.
That is correct. Which of these adjectives best describes someone who is truculent?
Pugnacious.
That is correct. You can quietly rearrange these letters. You will name the type of triangle whose sides are all the same length.
Equilateral.
That is correct. Fill in the blanks here to name what small country located in the Pyrenees Mountains between France and Spain.
Andorra.
That is correct. Which of these is the Rachel Carson book that had a major effect on the modern environmental movement?
Indian summer.
Silent Spring is the answer there. To complete this rhyme, place in the blank the name of the gap through which Daniel Boone traveled the wilderness road into Kentucky. Answer? The Cumberland Gap. GlenOak, good round. Okay. Our third team this morning, New Philadelphia. Are you set? These are all yours. Here we go. Take a moment here to find in this phrase the name of which one of the halogen elements?
Iodine.
That is correct. A person who is servile and fawning can be best described by which of these adjectives?
Obstinacious.
That is correct. The letters in this phrase can be rearranged to name what ancient Egyptian queen who roped Mark Antony into a disastrous love affair.
Cleopatra.
That is correct. Add 2 consonants here. You'll name what French-speaking Caribbean country that shares the island of Hispaniola with the Dominican Republic.
Haiti.
That is correct. 2 of these 3 bays empty into the Atlantic Ocean, but which bay is an extension of the Pacific near Sydney, Australia?
Botany Bay.
Botany Bay is correct, and that was big. This is for the bonus points. To complete this rather perverse view of Dickens' A Christmas Carol, add the name of what miserly character who often said, "Bah humbug."
Scrooge.
That is correct for the bonus points. There we go. And that is the end of that round. We're back with our final and deciding grab bag round. It's all coming up after this. Hey, welcome back to the Nordson Academic Challenge. Let's recap the scores that we have right now. In third place with 260 points, Cardinal. Second place with 420 points, GlenOak. Leading the way right now with 625 points is New Philadelphia, but hold on. Time now for the grab bag round. All 3 teams compete in this round. It's a free-for-all. I'll ask as many questions as time allows. For each correct answer, 30 points. But you will lose 30 points for a wrong or no answer. Again, this is for everybody. Hands on the buzzers, eyes on the monitor when we need it. All set, deep breath. Here we go. For centuries, rulers in Korea sat on a throne named for what mythical bird that dies and then rises? GlenOak.
Phoenix.
That is correct. 3 of the original 13 colonies had 13 letters in their names, including what New England Bay state settled in New Philly?
Massachusetts.
That is correct. Mosquitoes aren't known for dental hygiene, though they average how many teeth? The next highest prime number after 43. GlenOak.
47.
That is correct. This painting is on display at the National Museum of what small country whose 1990 invasion by Iraq let New Philly?
Kazakhstan.
Kuwait is the answer there, sorry. Mozart had written nearly all of his 40 symphonies before he reached what age, the minimum age for a member of the U.S. House of Representatives? GlenOak.
25.
That is correct. Major League Baseball fans were thrilled when a record for most quickly reaching 40 home runs and 40 stolen bases was set by what Japanese player for the LA Dodgers? New Philly.
Ohtani.
That is correct. Choice. Diamonds have an extremely high melting point due to hydrogen bonds, covalent bonds, or ionic bonds. New Philly.
Covalent bonds.
That is correct. This was Winston Churchill's opinion of what post-World War II European recovery plan named for the American general and statesman GlenOak.
MacArthur.
The Marshall Plan, sorry. You can learn a lot about the French Revolution by reading what Dickens novel, whose characters include...
A Tale of Two Cities.
That is correct. If a cricket chirps 30 times a minute, how many times will it chirp in 24 seconds? Answer? New Philly.
520.
12, sorry. Life had its ups and downs for what mythical king of Corinth, condemned to push a rock up a hill forever.
Sisyphus.
One more time.
Sisyphus.
That is correct. Let's go to the monitor. The world's first printed book was a Chinese text concerning Siddhartha Gautama, a religious leader known by what name? GlenOak.
Buddha.
One more time.
Buddha.
Correct. What river has seen a lot of history as it flows through Baghdad on its way to merge with the Euphrates? GlenOak.
Tigris.
That is correct. Some scientists have predicted a new source of protein in the milk of what insect? No, sorry, don't answer. We go to the scores right from there. In third place today with 260 points, the team from Cardinal. In second place with 600 points is the team from GlenOak. And the winner of today's academic challenge, what a game, 655 points. It's New Philadelphia. Oh boy. Hey, be sure to join us next time. We've got teams coming from Highland, Indian Valley, and Avon. Thanks for watching this one. I'm Rob Powers. Study hard. See you back here next week.